And joining me now is Abhishek Manu Singhvi, senior Congress leader and also a Congress member of Parliament. Dr. Singhvi, I appreciate your time. Manmohan Singh himself said that democracy is not just a form of government, it is an article of faith for our people. You worked closely with Dr. Manmohan Singh. Did you find him democratic in his functioning and approach?
Innately so, inherently so. His very nature, his very character, his persona was so inclusive, so gentle, so soft, that he could not but be democratic. He was genetically democratic, I think. And though he never made, glamour, form, sensationalism, ostentation, drama, etc., his calling cards, fakeness, hypocrisy, empty rhetoric, he worked with a quiet solidity to build consensus on every issue. So as far as your democracy question is concerned, he would start any issue by consultation, by getting his viewpoints. But then, once he was convinced of a particular view, you'd be surprised at his inner tensile strength. Inner tensile strength was great. He was no walkover, he was no pushover. His ask list and his ambition list was not high. But when he chose his points and he wanted to do them, he would stand firm. And time and again, I have believed that other entities, including the party, has given in much more to his choices than the other way around, a commonly misconceived notion.
And Dr. Singhvi, one, of course, because the act, or should I say, how the era of coalition politics was he compromising? Because it was about coalition dharma. Did you find him, be more accommodative, or was Dr. Manmohan Singh compromising to ensure that the coalition government was functioning?
Well, obviously, you see, coalition by definition, another synonym for it would be compromise. Otherwise, why would anybody like to give up unilateral power and coalesce with you? So obviously, in a democracy, numbers matter. Obviously, majorities made up in coalitions have to be consensual. So this is painted as some kind of a, but he did that coalition compromising with great dignity. There was nothing cheap about him. There was nothing gross about it. And when push comes to shove, he himself, A, could not be party to any illegality. B, when push comes to shove, as far as his principles were concerned, he would stand firm. But in many issues, of course, he did give in. For example, take an example of appointing a particular minister. I may not want to appoint you, but if your coalition partner insists, contrary to your own perception, that is my perception of you, I may still have to appoint you. So in those things, there were compromises. But let me tell you that when he thought that policy A and B had to be done, and if A and B had to go through a ministry which was headed by a coalition partner, he would not give up if he felt that it was necessary. Within that ambit of list, yes, he would allow a lot of latitude, which is but natural in a coalition situation.
Manmohan Singh's long career was not just about him being a politician, it was about a technocrat. Of course, what followed was a finance minister and also the prime minister. He has had an illustrious career. As a politician yourself and also a Congress leader, what do you think would be and is the most defining milestone of his legacy?
Well, firstly, I would call him a one-trick wonder. It restores your faith in politics to find that a man with such simplicity can succeed in Indian politics. A man with such incorruptibility can succeed in Indian politics. A man with such humility can succeed in Indian politics. It restores your faith because that word politics in India has become highly debased and devalued and degraded. He, by nature, practiced these virtues. They came to him naturally. And I get to see a person who could be more simple and humble. He would telephone back to say thank you. Anybody who came of any rank, whether he was a prime minister or not, he would get up and greet them and meet them. As I said, he micromanaged the 1-2-3 debate. He made sure that I opened both the speeches by cutting across various party entanglements in between. He sent the rising star of the Foreign Office, Mr. Shiv Shankar Menon, to brief me. He wrote 2 forewords to my book after first finding his office objecting to sitting prime ministers writing forewords. But then he found there was sufficient leeway in the rule to do it. He did it. He was very rule-bound, but equally not pedantic about it. I remember how he kept the faith with Narasimha Rao, to whom he was very close. Till the end of his days, he visited him. On his death anniversaries, etc., he would go to him. He had a great human touch. He knew my father well. So when he died on his Shraddhanjali Sabha, he changed a lot of programs to come personally. He would go out of the way to look at talent, to choose talent. And he was not insecure in that. Yes, he was unelectable. He always said so, and he realized that. But then he also said that if I want to do what I think is good for the country, I think I have to make compromise and I have to build consensus. It's no point saying that you made a compromise to do something, because otherwise you could not do it at all. There's no point lamenting and not being able to do what you want.
Dr. Singhvi, Dr. Manmohan Singh's tenure as the Prime Minister, those 10 years, particularly UPA 2, was very, very challenging given the nature of allegations his government faced. And of course, his ministerial colleagues had to resign because of the allegations, but he remained completely unimpeachable.
Well, I don't think even his worst enemies of any kind, political or personal, can ever raise a finger as far as Manmohan Singh's integrity is concerned. I have to be absurd. I remember a very pathos-filled moment when, after he had demitted office, his name appeared in the list of accused of the so-called coal scam. And I told him it's not worth, the allegation of the case is worth nothing. It doesn't hold water at all. But being one of the most honorable human beings in politics I've ever met, he was flabbergasted. He said, I've never even dreamt of anything wrong. How can my name appear there? So I explained to him how our system is such, the vagaries of our legal system, that just because you were holding the coal portfolio as Prime Minister for a while, during the relevant period, your name appears. And today, though that exoneration comes with death in criminal law, he was such an honorable man that he would not stop at anything short of a full exoneration if he was alive. Here was a man who could not do anything wrong consciously or even subconsciously in terms of illegality, in terms of deliberate, conniving and conspiracy. This is just not his nature. And he kept every possible magnet or counter-magnet of his family or larger family or relatives or friends away from the slightest exploitation or leveraging of his position. That's not a mean achievement in such a long record of politics. And remember, it's preceded by long years of top government service.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us.